I just want to say it's been a year. And COVID has really, really, raked us across the coals over the last 2 years. But it's been a year since you guys launched this amazing platform, Designer's Dish. And a lot has happened in this past year from what we understand and what we know for sure. And so I want to know how life how this has changed your life and how life has changed and what's different now. Anybody can take it, So how has life changed and what's different now for you guys?
I will start. So I think for business, everything just slowed down. Last year, we may have had 2 or 3 actual installs, and I don't think any of us were prepared for that. And I think maybe 3/4 of the year in, I was like, oh my gosh, our processes are set up for turning projects 3 to 4 months, lifetime duration. And here we are spending, at that point, 8 months, 9 months. Now we're at 12 months. And our processes were set up for something different. And I'm like, we're losing money. We need to set up something totally different so that we can just kind of readjust and weather the storm.
Yeah.
Duval?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, it was business was okay, and then business slowed down very quickly, and then all of a sudden we just were catapulted. For us, we had a very good, successful last couple of years. We've gotten booked out very far, so we're very excited about that. But because everyone's paying attention to what's in the home and being in the home, so since then, yeah, I just got really busy.
Duval is booked till 2023, just so you know. He's booked a while.
Booked and busy. Booked and busy.
It's on my website.
It's on his website. It's on his voicemail. Mm-hmm. It's on his Instagram.
Oh my God! Move on. Let's go.
I would say that overall, I got very busy in the past year, but we've talked about this a little bit. It was hard to unload clients. We've been dealing with the delays in shipping. All of our contractors are busy. Everybody, it's hard to get people in. It's hard to get projects finished, and it's hard to keep people moving like we were used to.
And clients are crabby.
And they're getting crabby. They were actually very good in the beginning. I felt like they understood that, hey, we're facing a lot of delays. I've noticed that in the past 6 months to a year, they're wanting to move on. They're wanting to move on, and they don't have the same understanding of what we are dealing with as they did before. So,
Pamela.
Well, if I can add to that, I think that all of us are probably dealing with the same struggles of keeping our clients happy. And the other day I did an unfortunate thing, and I counted up how many projects we still had on the book, and I think it was over 40. And it's really because there's so many of them that we're not, be able to wrap up. We're missing, a coffee table here, or we're missing, a punch list there. And I think my biggest takeaway, though, from all of that is taking care of my staff and my team, because the clients have been really hard on some of them some days. They have to deliver bad news all the time. And, they're also the ones kind of on the front line talking to the vendors, hearing that, the lead time, we were going to ship that in the middle of February. Well, then we call on it, and now it's coming maybe the end of April. So it's been really rough. So we've been focusing a lot on really keeping the staff happy and kind of, making work life a little more cheerful every day.
Yeah. It's interesting because before COVID, I guess our normal world could have been 22-week lead time, maybe 12, 18, something like that. But now we're seeing, or less than 22, I would say. But now we're seeing 22 plus, right? And I think one thing that I can glean from everything that everyone said, which was everyone spoke so eloquently about it, is the fact that you've got nagging clients, you've got longer lead times, and you have stressed, frustrated staff. So I think for designers, in particular everyone in this room that works in the design industry, what do you tell us, in terms of your mental health? How are you ensuring your mental health and stability during this time? Because it's important. You just talked about 40 projects, and then there's literally a piece, right? Duval's being bad down there. There's a piece.
My team is here, so
it's here.
they're frustrated.
So, speak specifically to your team. I see them right over there.
Every other week, have you been scheduling that for you?
I don't think am I stressed? Do I seem stressed?
All the time.
Okay.
All the time. On the phone with me, you also sound stressed.
I don't know if I would consider my clients nagging, right? I don't think they're nagging. I think we are very hard about getting in front of the client. And so because the landscape of design has changed, I can't tell them 6 to 8 weeks. I have to tell them 32 to 40 weeks, right? So coming out the gate, letting them know that's the case and staying in front of them all the way, I've been able to like kind of mitigate some of the nagging, and they're not as stressed because they knew this wasn't coming in until December. So there's no other conversations about that. So as far as being stressed, yeah, I guess I am stressed. I'm stressed.
Erica, talk to us about it.
No, I've been just trying to like understand and realize that no matter what we do, there's really nothing that we can change. So we just have to do all that we can do at work and just make sure we have good work-home balance, make sure we're taking care of ourselves, make sure we're getting downtime, because honestly, I think all of us could be working 24/7
Right.
if we let that happen, and we just
good.
can't let it happen because we will burn ourselves into the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
Christopher.
My little trick that I did this past year was turn off the notifications on my email on my phone so that I don't know how many emails I've got waiting for me
Check them later.
during the day. That was stressing me out. I'm going to be honest.
Or his voicemail.
Yeah, he never replies to
Ooh,
anything.
this is the
Y'all are
behind the
ganging up
scenes
on me.
secrets of
Right.
Designer's Dish, okay?
But that was helpful. I mean, I go through my emails in the morning. I go through while we're not while I'm driving. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Stoplights, exactly. But it was that little reminder that like, oh, you've got this, and it would keep piling up no matter how often you were checking it. And so that one little thing for me helped sort of release some of my stress. Also,
That's good.
journaling. I don't know if you guys journal.
really? Yes.
But I've been journaling about my processes, not like business, not like, oh, I'm going to be more successful this year. No,
tonight.
just like,
That's my
I'm
process.
stressed. And just like talking through some of those feelings with myself.
Right.
And that has been helpful.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's really good.
I journal as well, and not necessarily about work usually, more like, personal stuff I would have
Right.
to say, but I guess the work could come into play. I have a thing like if the staff knows I'm stressed, I leave the office and I walk around the block. Sometimes I walk around the block 85 times.
Yeah.
And then I come back and, kind of start over because I feel like you can't bring that into the office every day. And I have another word I always use, and that's reset. Sometimes I just have to reset myself.
Yeah, another thing I always do is I always tell them that I'm stressed or I'm agitated. I always tell my team that so they know what to expect.
Right.
Because sometimes you think you're hiding it well and you're
Right.
not.
Shows
and
on
so
your face.
yeah, right. It shows on your face.
Yeah.
It shows on the way you're responding to people. And as long as they know, like, hey, I'm in a mood, just so you guys all know, I'm
Right.
trying to get stuff done. We're not taking it out on them, but it gives everybody like a heads up, like, okay, hey, maybe just back up a little bit or just wait. Some questions can be asked later.
You should start journaling about it. I'm telling you, it's good.
Emily made me get a journaling app, actually, when we took a work travel trip. She's like, I think you need to journal.
There's nothing wrong. Journal therapy. I'm with you. My partner and I, we walk around on the track, or we'll do a run, walk, or whatever. Just something physical where you can step away.
Yeah.
You have to take breaks throughout the day. You have to get up and literally have some self-care and some personal time and step away from it. I think this is a good segue into another question where I know that there are a lot of young designers. If you're not young, you're wearing great makeup.
I'm very young.
Very young and beautiful. Okay, but I will say that there are a lot of young, up-and-coming designers, or young designers, period, in this room. And, our industry is comprised of a lot of young design talent, ton of it. Some seasoned and some in need of a little more seasoning. And so during this time, I would ask, what are some of the most common mistakes new designers make? And as you talk about the mistake, I'd love to hear your solution as well. Anybody can take it. You know what? We started this way, Pamela.
Let's see. Some of this, I've been in business so long, it's hard to remember what my first mistakes were, honestly. But my staff makes a lot of them.
Her staff's not here with us,
They are
so she can
not
say
here.
that.
We have
And
a
they
few
won't see the playback
extra.
of this either.
We have a few extra sectionals, I think.
If anyone needs some quick product, call Pam.
She's got inventory.
We have some inventory. So I think that really, I think attention to detail is probably what I see as like the biggest thing that is holding people up right now. And it's just you can't be careful enough when you are designing product and ordering for your clients, because if it comes in wrong, 9 months later, that's some bad news to deliver
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
Yeah.
Well, and what's the solution? How can they be better?
Well, I think we have a meeting every Monday, and it used to just be to review their projects. And now I have found that I have my new office manager spot checking things. And I always tell them, take your time, because if you take your time and do it right, it saves us a whole lot more,
Right.
work down the road. It used to be a lot more like, we got to get this done, we got to get this done. And now I'm just like, you know what, just slow down, take your time, and let's just do it right.
Yeah, it's kind of like that measure twice, cut once ideology, right? Christopher.
I started my business when I was 26, and I think dealing with a lot of people who were much older than me with a lot of their money, it was very easy to get intimidated and feel like underestimating myself. So I think going in and valuing what you're bringing to the table is often a mistake that we make early on, as well as not billing enough, not charging for your we all charge differently, right? I get that, but
Wait, I want you to look at those two ladies right there, because they both looked at each other, not to put you on the spot, but they both looked at each other. And we're family, so we put people on the spot in a good way. But let me tell you, that is important. And he's speaking to something that is so important. And ladies, I saw that reaction, so that resonated with you. Christopher, you
I'm telling you like it is. I'm telling you like it is. But it's true. I think you go in and, when I first started, there was a lot of conversations with more seasoned designers than myself about how are you billing, what is your rate, different things like that. And I think it's very easy to not trust that you are valuable and you're bringing something that your clients are paying you for, and don't devalue yourself as you're going into.
Yeah, have the confidence to do it.
And you need to know your worth. And you need to know the worth of your work.
And journal about it.
That's it. Erica, talk to us all about it.
So I think for me, what I see younger designers going into the business, don't have a true understanding of the actual hustle that it is. We have to work so hard to make what we make. I think so often coming out of school, people think, I'm going to dress nice and I'm going to go sit at my computer and I'm going to source some product and then, But, there's a lot of hustle in between that. A lot of reselections, a lot of lugging stuff to clients' homes, a lot of muscle on install. I mean, we do it all, We're in there fluffing pillows, laying rugs, making beds. You have to hustle day and night.
Well, even the behind the scenes, like your taxes and
all of it.
Yeah,
It is so consuming.
That's the kind of stuff that
Right?
Yeah, the two things I think that new designers mistakes, I think they always, one, they think they need to know, they think they know it all.
Oh,
and then they
absolutely.
think they need to know it all, and you don't, which is why you have team members and colleagues and reps. And then
mentors and good
mentors.
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then I think understanding that that's two different disciplines to run a business. You have your business and you have design. They're two very different
Yes.
disciplines, and they got to be treated as such. And your business has to be structured in a way that your discipline for the business has structure and framework. But then the discipline of like design has room for chaos and exploration.
Right.
And you have to feed both and you have to nurture both for you to have a successful business. I think that's something
Yeah.
the hustle will teach you eventually.
And Google tells us a lot.
Always.
But sometimes you have to pick up the phone. Younger designers need to pick up the phone and talk to people. Google is not going to tell you everything.
Exactly. Research is important. So, we're here at what I truly think is kind of like the Neiman Marcus of shopping experiences and learning experiences.
Absolutely.
And especially when you have champagne,
So much.
And I want you to tell us what are the best buying strategies to buy at High Point Market? Because, this is a great segue as we're talking about young and upcoming designers and the mistakes and the solutions and all that jazz. They've got to know what the buying strategies are. How do you navigate this place?
That's actually a great question. And Eric and I have been friends for I don't know how long. I don't know, 10 or 12 years. And I think that don't try to buy every line. I think that we were fairly strategic early on and looked at the lines that we wanted to carry and made sure we could get, $25,000. Some of them were $25,000 opening orders, and that's really hard. And I think that, being really strategic and going after the companies that you want to do business with and figure out how to get that opening order and how to, charm that rep into working together with you, and then make sure that you really can, sell whatever their minimum is every year.
To get that best price, to get that
Yeah.
lowest possible price.
Especially now because so much is available online.
Oh, yeah.
I never had clients shop me until last year.
Sounds like relationships at High Point is very important, right?
Absolutely.
Let's hop over to Christopher.
Yeah, I think what I've learned over my years of going to market is how valuable it is to get in sort of early. And
Sorry, I was like, that's true. It's true. Agree.
Jeez.
damn,
What does that mean?
Lord,
He only gets up at noon every day. Is that what he's talking about?
So like the antiques market, I didn't realize was such a big draw when I first started coming, and how important it is to get here early to see those pieces before they get sold. Pamela and I went to Tebow earlier this week, and we, a lot of those pieces get sold very quickly off the floor. And if you're here early and being able to take advantage of some of that, it makes it's helpful as you're moving on and selling these things to your clients. And then also understanding what the buy-ins are for a lot of these products, and because it does change the price structure depending on whether you're bringing in, if you're designer net versus wholesale, and how all of that works, and the relationship that you have with your rep, because sometimes schmoozing gets you shit.
Sounds like you gotta know how to speak the language as well.
Shit.
Right.
Get
Speak the
you,
language.
get you some shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, hey,
saying.
Erica, talk that shit.
So I can talk some shit. So I will, with what Pam said, I mean, I've been in the game a long time. My parents owned a retail business, home furnishings retail business. So I kind of learned the stocking dealer game early. It's understanding your brand, understanding your product, and understanding how you need to negotiate with these vendors, and kind of put your orders in with the vendors that fit your brand, so that you can bring that product to your clients at the best possible price. It is very competitive out there, and there is online shopping, and if they can Google and quickly find something that you're offering for less, I can understand why that gets a little frustrating for the client. So it's understanding how to negotiate those best prices, and put all of your orders and your faith into those vendors that fit your brand.
So what it sounds like, Erica just said, and so eloquently and beautifully, is you also got to know your aesthetic.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Modern
do we know
farmhouse.
our aesthetic, Jubal?
Modern farmhouse.
Why are y'all being mean to me?
The shade down there. You want my hat?
I'm
You
learning
give me
my
hat?
aesthetic
Oh, the
every
shade.
now.
Cover your head, my friend. Talk to us.
He said cover my head. No, I mean, I honestly echo everything they said. I don't think there's something to add to that. No.
So we'll continue a little bit more about business. Because again, we're talking to designers who are either up and coming, working, but we know that many of us, Christopher said he started his company when he was 26 years old, 2011, right?
2011. Yeah.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
Just
That's a lot of math.
Nobody
not
should
do
do that.
just a couple
needs
of
to know
years
this.
ago.
Just a few years ago.
And you probably were like many of us when we started, you were working a job and working as a designer, and it's really hard. And you were a one-man bandstand, right? And so you say to yourself, when is that defining moment where I decide to step out on faith? Do I get a big project that's $100,000, okay? 50 is going to me, 50 goes to the client purchase. Is that enough? Is that the right time? Okay, for me to hire someone or to step out on faith and say, you know what, I'm gonna push it and I'm gonna grow my business and I'm gonna walk away from that $100,000 job because I really wanna focus on my brand. So let's start with Christopher. What do you say to that? Do we step out on faith, or do we still kind of wait?
You have to know your business a little better than one project that's $100,000. But that being said, I think analyzing what you're bringing in year to year, in addition to what this project is and what your current client load is, then starting with a assistant, starting with a part-time person, bring those folks in to help you balance out the work so that you're not having to focus on all of the behind the scenes shit that we talked about that gets a little hectic, and you could focus more on the design, which is where your value is in the first place.
Sounds like
running
it's
your
very
business.
strategic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, can you say that again, Erica? 'Cause
And
that was
running your
important.
business.
And running your
Because
business.
running the business takes time. And growing the business takes time. So you have to have the time and the energy to put the focus on that, as well as your clients and the design and the project management. So it's kind of just figuring out when you've hit that point where you can't do it all anymore. It's
Yeah.
just figuring out who's going to be the most valuable person on your team, like what that position is going
Right.
to be.
And remember, because I want to hop to Pamela, because Pamela I felt that energy. She's ready to jump in there. So I want to say, this is something that I did. I'm very transparent about what my experiences are in this industry. I looked at what other designers were doing, and I compared myself, and I said, well, why are they getting those blessings and I'm not getting those blessings? You cannot compare yourself to other people. The road that you will travel to wherever you're going to go in this profession is yours alone. Don't look at Duval, Erica, Christopher, Pamela, Tristan. Be inspired, because you will be in this position. You probably are already, some of you. But I will say that is one of the biggest things that I have learned. I looked at other designers and I wanted to be like them, and I was upset when I couldn't get that $100,000 job.
And it's hard not to with social media.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
everybody's
So hard.
putting on their best face,
Yeah.
and it's hard not to get swept up into the.
I want to jump into this.
Jump
one too.
in,
No,
yeah,
sorry,
jump
sorry.
in, jump in.
Sorry.
You need my hat again?
How real are we going to be today?
Be real. Be honest.
So-
Tell
This
the
is
truth
it.
and shame the devil.
Give me the
Right.
tea.
Listen.
Not everyone is doing as good as they're showing you.
ooh.
So let's be very clear. This is a real conversation.
He said, wait,
And not-
repeat that
It's
for the
true.
folks in the back.
Not everyone is as good as they showing you that they are. A lot of people's businesses are failing, and they're showing you good things that are great. So you really have to take that advice and not be comparing yourself, because once you get to know some of the people that you've idolized and you hear how they run their business, you're going to be like, I'm actually doing better than you. So that's just something to throw out there.
Jesus.
That's the thing.
There's a whole lot going on there. Pamela, take off that over there. They knew where to put the people in
It's a
Navy at
fact.
the end.
It's a
okay,
fact.
and y'all two
Yeah.
come over here. We're gonna put them in punishment. Okay. So Pamela, jump in here because
Okay, so I'm going to just change it a little bit. So as Duval knows, I am extremely goal-oriented in how I run my business. So for me to hire that first person, I looked at it more from, how much revenue do I have to be bringing in? How much profit do I have to be bringing in? So I would say today, as a general rule of thumb, I don't think you should bring your first employee in until you're at about 250 or 300,000 a year, so that you have the revenue to be able to pay that person and pay yourself. And I know that when I was first starting out, the last person to get paid was typically myself.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Erica.
No, we always take the hit, I think, as the owners. I think there are times where you have to take the hit to get to that next level.
When I first started out, I was in a design business back in 2008 when we were struggling with the recession. And it was very interesting as I watched my boss hire people knowing in just a few months he was going to be firing them. And I never wanted to get to that point. So I think it's very important that you're looking at, is this sustainable? Can I keep this going? And understanding, of course, that we don't know what the future holds, but I just could never bring myself to hire people that I knew that eventually I was going to be letting go because I just couldn't support
That's an
that
integrity issue.
business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed. I want to. We're going to play a game in a moment called Love It or Hate It, but I think Duval just kind of spun the conversation in a great direction and regarding honesty.
That was very aggressive.
They came here to hear the truth. Y'all didn't come here to be like, yes, like, whatever.
But
I thought we were sugarcoating it. We're not sugarcoating it?
No. We don't
That's a waste of time.
Yeah, we're not sugarcoating anything. But honesty in this industry, I agree with you. And what happens a lot, is we live on social media. Social media is kind of like the dark web. You can get whatever you're looking for. You know what I mean? Even someone's social security number. If you're not careful. I've never tried it, but I've heard. But I would say to you, I would ask you to let's talk about honesty and within your career path. And visibility, and using social media as a tool to grow your business, not necessarily define your business, but to grow your business, and being honest about the circumstances that business folks go through, because we all have a story. But I think that many of us get on social media and we put these really pretty pictures up and you think it's really like fabulous. What do you say in terms of how do you use social media for visibility?
Me? Did I start it?
You started
He was
it.
looking at you.
You started it. You started it, brother. Come on and send it down the line.
So for us, I think the way we use it is, I guess instead of selling our rooms and products and things that we have done, we usually sell ourselves. Like for me, my brand is me. Like that's what the client buys into. That's the luxury that they get is working with me. And so all of my social media is kind of built on that. So I show rooms, obviously, but then I try to put my personality into the context so they can hear my voice and how I see about what I think about things. So I sell more of that. And honestly, I feel very comfortable with everything we put up because the very person you see will always be the same. It'll be the same in front of my pastor. I'm the same in front of my wife and the same in front of my staff. I don't feel like I changed too much. So I feel very comfortable that my honesty is always going to come through. So it's pretty easy for me.
Erica?
Oh, social media. Yeah, I feel like social media is a very love-hate for me. I get a lot of inspiration from social media. I find that I can see what a lot of people are doing. And like we said, a lot of times it's not really the real version of what people are doing. But it's hard for me because I am an introvert and I feel it's very awkward for me to put who I am out there on social media. It's just not a comfortable thing. You know, you're very good at it. I try to do it here and there as much as I can with what feels comfortable to me. But it's kind of love-hate. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Ooh. So
You're so good at it.
I have
You're
the
so good at
least
it.
amount of followers on Instagram.
Thank God you said that because that was going to be my next. Take it away. I was going to talk about followers.
I hate it. I hate social media. I don't like, I don't
agree.
like all the algorithms and the this and the that.
Yeah.
But I have tried to take a page out of Duvall's book and be more authentic with who I am, what's going on in my business,
Right.
you know, all of that. And honestly, we have talked about this before, the disparity of like posting other people's work versus posting your own work and
We all only post our work, I think.
for the
right?
most part. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely inspired by other designers. That is a fact. I think we all are. We can agree to that here in this room. But what I'm trying to promote to people is what I do and with a little bit of like what I'm inspired by. And I think sometimes we can get overwhelmed by, oh, well, they have so many followers and this, that, this, and the other.
Remember, people buy followers as well. So
Well, there's that too.
There's a lot going on.
I told you it's just like the dark web. Pamela.
So those few of us in the room that are probably over 50 probably feel that social media is, doesn't come naturally to us. We didn't grow up in the era that, we put all of our, everything we did
Our whole
online.
life online,
Yeah, your whole
Yeah.
life. So I'm probably a little slower at like putting my personal self out there because that's just not how I was brought up.
Right.
And so it took me a long time to get comfortable like sharing and putting my own personality out there, but I do think it makes a big difference. And I started paying somebody to do my Instagram posts, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago maybe. And I've been fortunate to keep the same person doing it all that time.
Right.
So it does get to be a
Yeah.
chore.
Yeah,
But I think it's
it
a
is.
huge, it's really, I think it's really our website now because I think that's how people find us.
Right. Yeah. What I found in this industry is that our clients connect to us. They're buying. They're buying your time. You can have 40 projects. You can have 2 projects. But if there's something special about you, if you've got that twinkle in your eye, if you've got the energy of Duval, you've got fabulous shoes like Christopher. If you're just gorgeous, got this gorgeous emerald ring that I've showed. They make it in the 13, Pamela, and just having Erica's beautiful smile and amazing eye for design. That's what people buy. They're the brand, like you said, the brand is you, and the brand is all of you. And as long as you're selling that properly, that's what they're buying. That's what they want to. They want to get you. That's it. So let's lighten it up a bit, love it or hate it,
Okay.
So shall you get your, I guess these paddles
get
on
our
the table,
panels
your
ready, yeah.
love it or hate it
boy.
paddles. So,
Is this the hate
gonna
face?
be really, Terrazzo, love it or hate it?
Oh.
Terrazzo,
love it.
how do we feel about Terrazzo?
Oh, see, here I'm like, I go back and forth on that one.
Well, tell us why.
I don't know. It's such a specific look, and I remember it back when.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how much I love it, and how much I hate it. Like I'll entertain it.
Right.
But I don't think it needs to be around too
Yeah.
long.
Can we ask it, like, does any, terrazzo, love it, hate it? You guys, y'all love it? Some people,
Love it.
right?
Yeah, in the right application. In the
Yeah.
right application. I don't want to see
Right.
it on everywhere. Yeah.
I work a lot. I work a lot in St. Petersburg, Florida, and a lot of the homes there in the old historic area were built in the 20s. So
Right.
there's a lot of terrazzo, and I love it there, and it so works with the homes there.
A year ago, I would have hated it, and then just the other day, we are doing a new build, and I'm like, should we put this in the laundry room? 'Cause it's really nice. So I think we're kind of indifferent at this point.
Yeah. So terrazzo is kind of like 50-50
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Ambivalent.
Ambivalent.
High lacquer.
High gloss
I
lacquer.
still love
I
the
still
high
love
lacquer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice and
Love,
glossy.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, you
Yeah.
gotta take care of it though.
It's a
'cause
nice
it gets a little
mirror.
dusty.
Gotta always check yourself on the furniture.
On walls.
On walls.
Yeah.
On
ceilings.
ceilings.
High
On
lacquer.
furniture.
Yeah.
High lacquer.
Yeah.
Nice and glossy. Got a thumbs up back there. Got a church wave
Yeah.
right there. You know? Ever been to the
Bitch
black?
like an auction.
Listen, literal.
I like it.
Ever been to the black church? Black women say. That's what that was. Love it. Color of the year. The Pantone color of the year for 2022 is. Have we all seen it? Very Perry.
In passing.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've seen it in
Purplish
passing.
looking
It's
color.
kind
Is
of
it
like
purpley?
periwinkle.
Yeah,
Right?
it's,
Oh,
yeah. It's.
I'm
I'll say
ambivalent.
this. Yes. I like color. All colors. Give me all the color.
I
I'll
don't think
take
it's
it.
the color of the year.
Well, it's Pantone's
it's a
color of the
color.
year.
We'll talk about Pantone.
Oh,
Okay.
Wait, what was that? Ambivalent?
ambivalent.
Yeah,
We're both.
exactly.
We're ambivalent.
Okay.
Color.
What
All
about
right.
you, Christopher?
I don't
Yeah.
know that I'm loving it, but I'm not a pastel type of person, so
Yeah.
it's not my jam.
Well, if you could have a color of the year this year, what would it be?
Yeah, do we feel like we
Ooh,
got into
cognac.
Cognac.
Did anybody see my post on Instagram? Because that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
How many followers you have?
Just my 1,000
yeah.
followers.
Okay.
Yes.
you didn't-
They're all here this afternoon.
Yes, they are.
They're all here.
That's okay. It's a little cognac, and the next thing, love it or hate it, is polished chrome. Polished chrome. Somebody said no. Who said
That was
It's
strong.
okay.
That was strong.
That was strong. We
Yeah.
felt that in the back of the room.
It's still
Okay.
a
No.
no. No.
No.
I don't know.
I think
like
you're a
it.
yes. I feel like you're a yes.
I'm not a yes, but I don't hate it. I feel like I'm seeing it out. Obviously, in market, it's coming back. They're doing a lot of mirror that's chrome, and you're seeing it like it's popping back up. So I'm kind of interested to see what their take is going to be on this look. But
Right.
we're not putting it in the house unless it's like a secondary space.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not loving it in a lot of the furniture and accessories that I'm seeing, but I'll do it in a bathroom. Yeah.
It's more cost effective.
Yeah.
So
Right.
sometimes you have to go.
And
chrome.
easy to
with
find,
it.
Yeah,
especially
it's
in
very
the
easy to find.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Small hardware. Love it or hate it.
Love it.
Oh, definitely love.
Have you guys been noticing that? Yeah. Every piece in every showroom has been like small hardware. And I'm
Yeah,
like, what
the
in
hardware
world
is
is
definitely
happening?
more understated.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really like, excuse me, like really for a drawer?
But,
Play on
but do
scale,
you
it's
feel
kinda
that the
cool.
focus is more on the craftsmanship of the piece?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the craftsmanship of the
Yeah.
piece.
Rejuvenation does a good. They've got multiple sizes with their hardware.
Yeah.
I've been using a lot of their 1-inch knobs in my
Yeah.
kitchen remodels. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh. All right.
Wait, so when you do small hardware, do you guys like multiple pieces? Like
What?
multiple
that again.
pieces on a drawer? Like they always have to be.
I have done that. I've done
Yeah, right.
that for some custom stuff that I've done. Holly Hunt used to do that on some of their pieces, and I
Okay.
always thought that was very clever. So I've
Yeah.
used some of the smaller knobs and done that in a set of 2 or 3.
Okay.
But
Christopher's giving us all the intricate details.
Yes,
I
he
love it.
is. Or how many inches apart is that?
yeah, you know, it depends on the scale of each
About
piece.
6 inches.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Love it or hate it. Burl.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think I'm loving it.
I still
a
love
year
Burl.
ago, I would have said
Love it.
no.
Okay.
Look at him
Really?
developing into
know!
his
He's
style.
learning his his style.
Oh
I'm
my
not. I'm
goodness.
still not happy with like the light burl. I still like it in a darker tone.
Very specific burl.
Yeah.
Christopher and I saw a
specific-
lot of it yesterday
right?
at Made Goods.
Made Goods.
Yeah.
Made good,
I like it a
yeah.
little darker, but
Yeah.
the lighter version I'm not. It's too coastal.
Bungalow 5
Yeah.
has a lot of
Ooh,
that.
love bungalow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next thing, the next love it or hate it thing, I was so excited when I saw it on the list. Boucle.
Yes.
Boucle.
Yes, ma'am.
I say it,
Yes.
boucle.
Yeah.
Although
Oh,
I
my
think we might
goodness.
be wearing it out at this moment.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just getting
It's
started.
everywhere. It's
Yeah.
like it's never left before, but it's, oh my goodness.
It was so hard to find a few years
Yeah.
ago,
It was.
and now it is everywhere, and I'm loving that. But I want to see it as something other than
Yeah.
cream.
Wait,
Well, and that's what you see a lot of. Cream
do you
with
think it's
boucle.
going to stay in for a while? Like, do you think that
It's
this
been
is gonna
around
be here?
for
It's
Or is it
forever.
going to stay in?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the
Yeah,
availability.
yeah, and the designer. You know,
So-
Indigo stayed around for a long time. Who's ready for that
Have
to
you
go
have you
out?
guys been Eyeholtz? Eyeholtz has this version, what they're calling the evolution of boucle, which we love. The weave is a little tighter, but like looser, so it's like breathable. So it's a nice texture without it being boucle.
Looser but tighter at the same
Looser
time.
but tighter.
Two things can be true at
You know
once.
Oh my goodness.
You know the dog's going to snag that stuff.
Y'all are coming for me today.
Listen,
Shit right there.
The shade.
he is serving it up on the platter today. All
But
right.
I'm game for that boucle. I'm not. I'm not loving it.
They
Okay.
have a lot of the polished chrome also.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last one is antiquing.
Yeah.
Love it or hate it, antiquing.
Always good.
I love it.
Always.
I wish I could do it more with clients, though. It's hard. I feel like sometimes that's hard because you share it with your client and then it's already sold. So it's harder to control in the projects, I think.
Listen, I think every room should have at least one antique in it.
Absolutely.
You know,
I
something
agree.
that tells a story.
Yeah.
You know, and really complements the space. Well, we've got about 14 minutes left. And I think that, you know, we can have a conversation with you all. You know? Maybe get a
Darn.
champagne refill and
I
talk
need
a little
I
bit.
need a refill.
Do question and answer? Are we okay
Yeah,
with
let's
that?
do it.
Yeah,
Have a
absolutely.
conversation?
Let's do it.
Does anybody have any questions? Don't listen. This is a family and friend. Oh, come on. That's
And
right.
I think
she
wait,
was ready.
so I think we agreed to nothing's off the table, right?
Nothing's
we
off
have
the
to talk
table.
about it.
Ask it
We
all.
want if you have
Except for my
questions-
personal life.
Oh, please.
Well, Pamela, listen, Pamela,
Nothing's off
nothing's
the
off the
table.
table, but you can't have any of our jewelry. Okay? That's it. All right, you have the first question. Tell us your name.
My name is Timala.
Well, welcome, Timala. Talk to us.
So I'm a designer based out of Tampa. So Tampa says St.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty close. But I wanted to know, have any of you gone to school for interior design, or did you make a career switch?
Great question. I think it's a good mix.
I have a
It's a mix.
4-year degree in interior design, and my first degree though was in psychology.
I only have a bachelor's in interior design. Yes.
Same bachelor's in interior design.
No schooling in interior design.
Classically trained,
Yes.
taught, self-taught.
And I
That's right, baby.
That's it, baby.
I learned the hard way.
just as a
Yes.
quick
grew up in the
aside,
industry.
I would say that if I could do it again, I probably would have only done 2 years and then interned under
Like
somebody.
just get in, start
Yeah.
getting your feet wet, get in there, start learning the do's and don'ts. I think the best way to learn, and I don't want to, absolutely, schooling is great, especially
Right.
if you don't have background. I grew up in the industry.
Yeah, that helps.
So schooling does help give you background,
Agreed.
but then once you just get in there and get your feet wet, I think learning comes with making a lot of mistakes.
But not all geniuses were in traditional school.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
They don't. You don't have
That's
to be.
true.
You
Oh,
don't have
I am
to
an
be.
example.
There you go.
You don't have to be.
I am a genius.
Next question, my dear.
Hi, I'm Genevieve. I was wondering, Erica, you said that you had to change your processes when
Oh,
you
yes.
had the backlog of projects. What did you do? How did you rethink your...
So one of the big areas where we saw a drain in our just our process and what we were doing, we check product and status on logistics and ETAs every week. We let the clients know every week what the status is, and we were getting to a point where no matter how many times we called, how often we called, nothing was changing. So I was putting a lot of money into manpower, checking this, and then spending all the time updating clients weekly. And I was like, look, I'm paying someone like 8 hours a day to check all this product every week on all of our products, and it's not making a difference. Because what we used to do is if we saw a big delay in something, nothing so precious that we don't just go ahead and find a new item or reselect so that we can keep the project moving. Well, there is no reselecting right now. It's very, like, we'll spend hours and hours trying to do a reselection to try to find something that might potentially work. So we've changed our process and how we just check all of our ETAs and how much time we spend on that and how often we update the client. Like, it becomes a broken record when we update the client every week with the same information.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, we do it
Yeah.
twice a month now.
Yeah.
We used to do it every Friday.
Yep.
And I'll give you why we did it on Fridays. We did it on Fridays, and my office manager got really clever, and she would do it at, like, she would do them all, and then at 4:45, she would send them all. So that way they couldn't respond before she left for the weekend.
Oh, I know some people like that. Next question. Anybody else? Vincent.
My name is Vincent. I'm a designer from DC. Hourly or flat fee?
Yeah, good
Flat
question.
fee.
We do a calculated flat fee, so it's a certain amount of hours up to that point, and then we charge hourly after that.
I do hourly.
I do both. There are some projects that we bill totally hourly, and then we have other projects that are a flat fee.
I take crypto, ruble,
Emeralds, whatever is available.
diamonds, jewels, everything.
Cartier.
Cartier, Gucci, whatever.
Now I forgot my question. Now I'm from California. Lauren, so when you charge a flat fee or a fixed fee, is it on a percentage of the overall construction budget? Because sometimes clients ask me, and I always say, I kind of default because it's always been my way to do hourly. I've been doing this over 20 years. And so it's just kind of worked for me, but I feel like I'm missing out on a lot. I could talk to you about that because but I'm kind of afraid, you know, because I'm like, God, it's going to kill me if we're so many.
Well, and I think it depends on what you're charging flat fee for. Are you charging flat fee for decorating furnishings? Are you charging flat fees for selections? Like, I think you can determine for all of those things what your flat fee should be based on past experience. We charge hourly for design execution management because that's an area we can't control. So we spend time with the contractors and with the trades and creating documents and schedules and go to meetings with them to make sure they're executing the design properly. So that's hourly, because sometimes we can't control how long it takes them to understand what we're trying to get them to do. If we're called back 5 times, I can't charge flat fee for that. So once after the design is done, we move over to hourly for execution management.
Thanks.
I think percentages, are you going to answer? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that, I typically used to do a flat fee, and I would a lot of times do it based on the square footage. And sometimes that works really well because I almost always had a really big house. But when you have a small house, it doesn't work nearly as well because obviously you might be doing the same amount of work for a different fee. But one of the things that I've kind of learned recently is I've gone up and other people in big cities will interview sometimes 3 designers for a big project. And we recently had one that came back to us and said we were the most expensive, but she really wanted to hire us. So then she divulged with us what the other 2 design firms were charging. And they were much less than us, and they were both flat fees.
I think if you're going to do a flat fee, you need to analyze your business well enough to understand you have a pattern of a percentage. If you cannot do that, you should not guess. There's no guessing game in that. And then at the same time, so the way our business is structured, which is a little different than hers, I am kind of very calculated about everything. So I have all of my steps in the design process leading up to procurement scripted out. And so I will guesstimate how many hours I need, which will give me a calculated number, right? So in that, then you work within the numbers that you provided. If you work outside of those numbers, then you're undervaluing yourself, or you're not charging enough, obviously. And then if you find yourself on the next project that you need to go up, then you go up.
But that's almost flat fee because I
It's almost flat fee.
find in most cases that people do that won't ever actually charge people more
Yeah.
once they've told them,
agree.
you know.
I agree.
And You know, I will tell you that one of the most important things is to remember as a designer is that we're offering luxury services, okay? And so if a client could do this for themselves, they would. And so you shouldn't be afraid to charge. But again, it goes back to what we talked about earlier and knowing your worth and understanding that your business. And so let your brand speak for itself with the work, but also your price also speaks for itself. It's an extension of the marketing and the branding. People don't realize that. Okay, anyone else? Right here.
Ooh,
We know that one.
The lady in pink.
one of our neighbors.
I would say for each one of you, your top tip would be in the industry.
Top tip in the industry?
Top tip for designers with their own businesses.
You go.
Oh wait, I'll go first.
Okay, you go.
You go, Tammy.
Talk about traveling and doing it.
Oh, that's true. Now, that wouldn't probably be my top tip because that doesn't probably refer to too many people. I run an office in Northern Virginia as well as an office in St. Pete. But that wouldn't be my top tip. I think that the biggest thing I had to do all over again, and I've shared this with some of these three, is that I would have taken more risk earlier on.
You have said that.
Yeah.
I think that, all of us when first starting out, you see all the top designers and you're like, oh my God, is my work as good as theirs? Like I'll look at a room Tom Pheasant did and go, oh wow, look at that. And you just start to kind of compare yourself to people. And so I think sometimes we're a little bit hesitant to take that risk and go after really what we really want and just put our work out there.
I think mine would be processes. I think once my business was structured that I knew exactly what's going on from the first point of contact with the client, all the way down to the last invoice and gift we send out. Every step is calculated. And now that I know the structure of my business, I can hand off parts of my business with full comfort of control. Like even as my team members are working on stuff, they have script of what they need to work on and what's the deliverable at which time, right? So once you know how your business is running, I think you can be more successful. And I wish someone had told me that at the beginning. I just wasn't.
God, I forgot to tell you that.
Go ahead.
You were supposed to be my mentor.
Christopher.
One of the things that I did starting out was I got into a show house very early on. And I think that really, it got me connected with some of these folks up here, honestly. And then also people in the industry in terms of different vendors, different contractors, all those types of people that when you're first starting out, you don't know how you're going to build that team, and that was very helpful. In addition to sort of the credibility of doing a show house and having something to photograph and for people to see that you're doing it.
And that sort of goes back to taking that risk because when you're in a show house, you've got every designer walking through judging your room.
Well, and it's expensive.
And it's
Here's a little tip. You definitely should. One of the things that I learned in that show house was that if you can tether yourself to a brand that will trust you, and this goes back to making good relationships with your vendors and your reps, that if you can get somebody to back you, it cuts into some of that cost so that you're not having to come out of pocket early on.
Partnerships are very important. Partnerships are very important. Indeed.
Wait. What was your...
I think mine goes more to, relationship with client. First and foremost, you need to understand each client. You need to understand what they're expecting of you and what they're wanting for you to accomplish, and understand good communication with that client is key. And then sometimes picking up on subtle cues with people. I think sometimes people are like, oh yeah, I love it. And when you hear that sense of hesitation from them, I think one of the things we do is go back and that reaction didn't seem quite as exuberant as what we were hoping. So I'm like, something's off. I think we need to spend a little bit more time. I think we need to reach out. I think we need to find out what that hesitation was, because ultimately we want them to be so happy with their end product. So I think that for me is the biggest thing.
Can I answer one more time?
Sure.
Can we be real? Okay. I think that I wish someone kind of had guided me on was that just learning how to run your own race. And so just like you guys were talking about earlier, just watching other designers, I'm being real. I'm not as, my creative level is not as good as so many other designers, panel included. but my business is run so tight. And that was where I put my energy into my business because I wanted to run a successful business. Yes, I don't care if everybody loves my stuff. You can love it or you don't have to love it. I'm getting paid though. And so that was what I really put so much time. Is it? I'm not getting paid. That was where I put a lot of time and attention, and I got a lot of flack for that because everyone wants me to be something that I'm just not.
Yeah.
Because my attention was here. It was not where you started your business. It's not where you ran your business. So you get a lot of comparison that they expect you to do or be something you're just not. And I'm learning to still run my race regardless of everybody around me. I have my blinders on. This is what works for me. But at the same time, I'm happy with that. That's the best I can be.
It's so important, I think, because it's very easy to compare.
Yeah, clap for that. Woo, clap for that.
So we've got about 1 minute before we close. We can take one more question.
Are we looking
Yes.
at time? Okay, keep going.
I'll jump in.
Go ahead.
Well, it's more of a comment question to the panelists next to you, Tristan.
Mhm.
You had mentioned that Pamela,
Mhm.
recently had someone to shop you.
Yes.
And so I'd like to know, what do you think occurred? Like, what's happening in the consciousness, the mind space of clients today?
Very good question.
Are you asking why I think the client wanted to get basically 3 bids or 3 quotes?
Or is it product?
No,
It's
product.
product. Shopping product.
Oh, when I said that, for the first time, like my clients typically hire me for, I kind of feel like my look and my finished product. And for the most part, I've never ever had them say, oh, I Googled this sofa or whatever it is, and I found it, $100 cheaper. And I think what happened this past year is people had more time on their hands. Especially in Washington, D.C., a lot of people were probably spending 2 to 3 hours often a day in their car. They now have that time back. And I think working at home gives them a lot more time. And I just think it's so much easier. And it used to be that we would just leave the product info off of what we gave the client. And it's just on a spreadsheet for us. But now, you can Google image it and still find it. Yeah. I don't know that there's a way to always, have an answer when that happens. I know some designers write it in their contract that they have to spend X amount of money with them.
We do ours a little different.
No.
Speaking to product sourcing or shopping you, I'm not saying this is the right way, but this is how we do it. We don't itemize. So clients do not see product costs.
Right.
So you can't shop me.
Yeah.
So the room is this amount, the floor is this amount, or your entire house is this amount.
Right.
That's it.
And they're good with that?
They don't have an option.
They
That's
have
how
no
we work.
options. Yeah. I
So
mean,
when we go into contract and before we even talk, before we go into our, in the discovery call, before I get to your house for my first initial visit, this is how we work as a business. If you're comfortable with that, great. If you're not a client.
Yeah.
It sounds beautiful. Emily and
We've
I
had
talked
conversations
about
about this
like
before.
how does Duval do that? Because I feel like we have so many people that want to know the nooks and crannies.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try it.
I get that
I'm
as
like, how
well.
does
And
he
I've
do
tried that.
Yeah.
I've tried that, and I had to stop because I had so
Yes.
many people
Yes.
who were asking.
Yes.
Now, I may not have been going in guns
It's
a-blazing
his
saying you have
sales
to.
obviously.
It's my sales pitch. So here's the sales pitch. The sales pitch really is just as a heads up, we work a little differently than other design teams. So the way that we do it is we price per room or floor. We do not itemize, just so that you know. So what we do is we'll give you a cost. We'll find out what you guys want to do for the space. We'll get an idea and do a design for you, and we'll give you a cost of what we think we can do for the room.
Right.
And then from there we go into contract to furnish it.
Yep.
If you're not, and clients every so often will ask, why do we do that? Well, we let them know because we just find it easier. It doesn't complicate the design process. It doesn't stress you out. I work with too many clients. Once we find one table, they're like, well, it's $800. Why can't you find it for $700? So then we find it for $700. Well, I saw one online for $650. So we find it for $650. And by that time, you paid us $800 just to find that table.
Exactly.
So we find that. So we
Exactly.
tell clients this whole story. So we find that it's just so much easier to just focus on the design with us. We already know your suggested budget. We'll stay within it. This is what we'll do. There are no more questions about that.
And it's one word, exclusivity.
That's 100% the truth because I did have a client where when I was doing that, as there was no line items, we had a chandelier in there, and then she wanted a breakdown. And I said, okay, well, let's go. So I give her the chandelier was $6,000 for her dining room. Now, mind you, we had fit everything in the budget that she gave me for what we were spending on the dining room. But she just kept latching on to the idea that this one piece was costing her $6,000. I spent a year searching for an alternative until she came back to me and said, "Now, Chris, if you had to do this, what would be the fixture that you?" And I'm like, "Girl, the one that I showed you a year ago." So we ended up putting that fixture in. She loved it. But she spent another, God knows how much money on me searching, because I bill hourly.
Yeah.
And she was having me search for other fixtures that were less expensive, but none of them were fitting the bill. And then, so I don't know, maybe she spent another $3,000 on me searching for a new fixture that she could have gotten for $6,
crazy.
and now
Yeah.
she paid $8.
And that's it. Indeed.
Well, did you go to the school of Sandra Funk?
Oh, no. But I know
Design
Sandra.
Center?
No, but
Okay.
she's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I did not. Should
Because
I?
it sounds similar to her
Oh,
process.
should I do it?
I'm starting. I'll let you know.
Let me know. Go ahead,
So I
Siri.
have a light and bright question. So we come to High Point for furniture inspiration and get inspired. I'm kind of not feeling it this market. So I'm very
We were just.
curious.
Are we telling the tea? Because we were all saying that.
We were talking about this last night
yes.
at dinner. We were
At
literally
dinner.
talking about this at dinner.
Yeah.
But how long have you been coming to market?
A while.
So I feel like there is, the longer you come, there is a desensitization to all that is around us.
Any
It's
new
true.
designers in
You
here
know?
that have felt like they were inspired by what's going on? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, maybe
But
Erica
there's
is onto
usually just
something.
one showroom that you're like,
No.
oh,
Like, wow, this is it.
You've brought me back to my love of design, and I'm just, there's not.
I like Julian Chichester's showroom, but I haven't been there. I
It looks
haven't.
the same, doesn't it?
Girl, you spotted everything.
Yes, it
Lordy,
does. It does.
I
look
could
satisfying.
not see your face while we were walking around. I was like, "Oh, did you spot that
little
tiny
scary.
little table on the street?"
Like,
yes.
oh, it's too low.
I think
I'm like, "Girl, what you spotted was some trash that some people were dumping, and then you got mixed up."
So
That is some shit.
I think some of that is COVID. Right,
Yeah.
so you can see
yeah.
how many vendors didn't have product in, and I think they're also not sure about reinvesting in. You know how when we used to come, it used to have better silhouettes and vignettes and everything was kind of set up. I think that they're just not sure. They're not sure about doing that yet. So I think that's a part of what that is.
Yeah. This has been such a lively discussion. I mean, you can watch the show on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it is truly amazing. But to be sitting up here, I feel like a nymph in fairyland. But I will say thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tristan, this was amazing.
Wonderful.
Bravo.
I'd love to come on as a guest host. Our thanks to Pamela Harvey. Look her up on Instagram.
Good job, Pam. Good job.
She is fabulous. Christopher Patrick. Erica Bonnell. Honey, I want to go and have a cocktail with you because you are my kind of girl. And of course, Duval Reynolds. And thank you all. Thank you to you for coming.
Yeah, thank you
could have
guys.
you could have been anywhere in the world.
We were
but you
really
came here.
nervous, not for
We
nothing.
were nervous.
Yeah.
That's the other risk thing, is doing things like this that you feel uncomfortable about. I think that's one thing that you've said, just do it. Just step out of your comfort zone, just do it.
Yeah. And you did it. Designer's Dish High Point Edition. Give it a round of applause. Have a good day, everybody.